Hey everybody, welcome to our review of the Super Mario Brothers movie. We are your hosts. I'm Vincent, a background designer for the Hollywood animation industry.
And I'm Janet, the ex-Disney artist and independent creator, and this is a podcast about all things art, business, and whatever we feel like.
Now today we're going to talk about the grand old thing that is the Super Mario Brothers movie. We are going to give out a review with no spoilers, but at the end of our movie review, and we're going to give out our grade for what we think the movie scored, like a high school assignment. After all of that, we're going to wax poetic about the future of video game movies. So Janet Chan, let's start with a very basic review of the Super Mario Brothers movie. This is what the Super Mario Brothers movie is about. Our protagonists, Mario and Luigi, risk everything to become Brooklyn's finest plumbers, despite lack of support from family and friends. Their journey takes an unexpected turn into a strange new world that tests their ability to help Princess Peach save her world from the evil Bowser. So Janet, what were your expectations for this movie? And what did you think of this movie?
Unfortunately, my expectations were pretty low because movies just haven't been good, and also the response from Twitter was pretty bad. Because for whatever reason, I am served film Twitter tweets. The initial reaction was that everyone hated it for some reason. So I don't believe critics. Just with that, I need to watch a movie and see for myself. But I assume it's somewhere between. It was somewhere in between. I hate it and I love it, because obviously I can't tell the difference sometimes on Twitter between the show posts and promotional material. A lot of the times it's either or. It's never what I think is a fair critique, which is I feel like most movies are somewhere between 80 and 70 or 80 and 60 even. Rarely is it a 90 and rarely is it like a 30. But that's the consensus on Twitter usually. So I was like, it's probably a 70. So I had no real expectations other than it's probably all right. It's probably not for me. It's probably a kids movie. People were saying that it's because it's Illumination, it has a lot of the trappings Illumination movies have, and I didn't know what that meant other than like a Minions movie. I don't know. So that's my expectation, that it was going to be an okay movie. What was your expectation?
My expectations were on the ground because for the past 10 years, Hollywood seemed to be hell-bent on destroying every single little thing that I love. So Mario is just like, oh, they're going to destroy it. They're going to kill everything I love about it. So my expectations were, I was most worried that this would be a Illumination adventure, a very generic one wearing the skin suit of Mario, that there wouldn't be enough fan service. The people who made it weren't real fans of the intellectual property. And I am happy to say I was so wrong. We were so wrong. And I think our expectations were blown away. So Jan, what did you like about the movie?
So I think you can come into this movie as three different types of audience members. You're either a super fan, or you're kind of aware of the franchise. You may have played some of the Mario games, or you are not at all a fan and you don't really know anything about it. I'm right in the middle there. Like, I've played some of them. I grew up with it, kind of. It was never something that I played religiously, and I've never really beat any of the games until I was an adult and I could buy them on the Switch for myself. So the most recent Mario game that I played is the most recent Mario game is the Super Mario 3D World game on the Switch that I played, and I completely finished it. Really liked it. I wasn't completionist about it or anything. And the first Mario game I played, I think, was on the Game Boy Advance. And it was this, I don't even remember which game it was, but it was very difficult. I can barely get through most of the levels. I never finished it. We're not coming from like some people who don't know what it is. I think it's a different experience if you watch the movie and you've never played the games. So my experience with it is, even though I'm not a super big fan, like a super fan of Mario, it did trigger a lot of nostalgia for me, and I really liked it. I think it pleased the fans really, really well because of that. Just the sheer amount of nostalgia and Easter eggs and story points that fit the game really, really well. It was really entertaining without being annoying, which is what I saw a lot of the criticisms were. And I also, what I really enjoyed about this movie is it's a movie that kids and adults will enjoy for different reasons, but both of them can enjoy it. I think a lot of the animated movies that we've watched in the past few years have either been either or. Like, it's either for the stunted adults that never grew up and watch animated movies for some reason, or it's for children and the stunted adults hate it. And so you get this mixed critique of those movies. But I really feel like this Mario movie is such a great blend of everything that allows different generations to enjoy it for different reasons. I came out of the movie thoroughly happy.
Like, oh man, that hasn't happened in a while, has it?
Yeah, like I was entertained. Like, not every movie is supposed to entertain you. Some movies make you think, whatever, but these types of movies haven't made me entertained in a really long time, and I wasn't expecting it to make me feel the way it made me feel. Like, it made me feel like a kid again, which is what I want from animated movies, to ignite that joy, that childlike joy to live and be fantastical or whatever. And I think because it really fulfilled all the needs that it needed to as a franchise movie, but also just as a good animated movie for kids, I really liked it. I think it did a good job. Why did you like it?
Well, I, instead of Janet, who has lived under a rock, never played a Mario game, my first console was a Super Nintendo. My first video game was the Super Mario All-Stars plus Super Mario World Collection game all in one thing. So not only did it come with literally every Mario game before Super Mario World, it came with, I would say, the best 2D Mario game, rivaling Mario 3. So I played that like crazy. Truth be told, I didn't play Mario 2 very much because of the history. It's not really a Mario game. People know. If you know, you know. But I was initially worried that there's so much source material that they better put into this movie, because I was super worried that it would be this watered down for kids, made by people who don't really play Super Mario. But boy, the people who made this movie played Super Mario, played as much Super Mario as they could possibly play, from Super Mario 64 to Super Mario Galaxy, a lot of Super Mario games to Super Mario 3D World. I could tell because a lot of the references pointed towards that direction, and I was thoroughly impressed by how much passion that was displayed on screen. I didn't feel like it was a cash grab or a numb installment in some grand franchise, cough, cough, Puss in Boots. I felt like this was lovingly done and lovingly made by really passionate people. I told you, like, man, I bet they won't even grab Bowser by the tail and throw him.
Yeah.
Oh boy, surprises will happen when you watch this movie. But yeah, I was thoroughly impressed by how much stuff from the Mario universe, from the first Mario, third Mario, Mario World, like almost every Mario 64, tons of fan service and Easter eggs for your wandering eyes, and especially if you plan to watch this over and over again. So many things hidden in the background. I'm a background designer, so I'm able to see like everything all at once, and they put a lot of cool shit in the background. So I felt like I was a kid again watching this movie, and like the Jaina and I, if you've seen the movie, are basically the blue star.
Yes.
We are dead inside. But this movie made me feel like a little kid again, which is, I swear, like, this is why we harp on Demon Slayer. It makes us feel like we're young people again. And I just feel like I can see with so many other DreamWorks, Pixar, Disney movies, and I'm just like so sick of the obligatoriness of it all. Here's the beat where you're supposed to cry.
Here's the I Want song.
Here's the I Want song. But like, this is just completely for people who love this property and who love Nintendo. And it makes me really, really excited for the future. I'm sure it satisfies fans. I love Jack Black as Bowser. I was skeptical about Chris Pratt playing Mario because I hated the idea, because I was so worried that Chris Pratt would come off like his character from the Lego movie, just Chris Pratt. But he did have a little bit of "Hello, Mario, Yahoo!" a little bit to taste, which is what I really liked. I was really like upset with the criticism, with the design or the creative decision to not make Mario sound like Mario, but I think they did enough, and it was really surprising, and it really made my heart go like, oh my god, this is so great. But yeah, like it was thoroughly entertaining. As a fan of the franchise, I wanted more. And like the post-credit scene, the very last one, kind of points towards a certain Mario game that we've all played in the Super Nintendo, that I'm like, okay, that's where you're going. That's exactly where I wanted you to go. So, long story short, I loved it. I haven't had that much of a good time in the movie theater watching a kids thing since Demon Slayer. I'm just so thoroughly overjoyed. And yeah, like every single time they would have some sort of Easter egg or sound effect, like when Mario gets the Mario 3 leaf and goes blah 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 blah. Like I would freak out. Like, right? Yes. Like I would tell, like, oh, this is a thing. It's the thing. This is doing the thing. They're doing the thing.
You also didn't. You liked the Peach Luigi switch.
Oh yes, that's right. I was really skeptical about, like, man, Mario, you save Princess Peach in the tower, and they're doing the whole, like, they want Princess Peach to do more. I'm like, Princess Peach doesn't do anything in the Mario games. Let's be real here. She doesn't do anything in the Mario games. But I really thought it was a sweet, well thought out decision to switch out Peach and make Luigi basically the damsel in distress, which gives Mario and Peach a lot of interesting dynamic scenes. And when Mario and Luigi are reunited, it feels really good to see, like, the brothers do the brother thing. So I thought it was really, really, really clever what they did with the slight narrative switch up, subverting expectations of the fans. So that was really good. Is there anything you didn't like about the movie, Jan Chan?
So these are going to be really nitpicky.
The nitpicky, like, barely even an issue.
Yes, but if I had to be honest about what I didn't like, and didn't like is like too harsh a word. It's just things that are like, it doesn't bother me. A lot of these things actually don't bother me. It might bother other people, and I can also see, if you don't know anything, if you've lived under a bigger rock than me, you've never encountered the Super Mario games at all, these are probably things that you have gripes with. It is a little ADD and fast paced. It actually doesn't bother me because I understand the sheer amount of stuff and fan service and things they had to cram into this movie to make the fans happy. It needed to kind of be this packed full of stuff, and it has to be this fast-paced in order to get all of it in there in a short amount of time. And I also don't mind the ADD-ness, because even though it is ADD, I was able to follow the story and everything that was happening pretty easily. I also think, sadly, Gen Z and children are becoming more and more ADD, and it probably is perfectly fine for them when they watch it. When kids watch it, they're like, this is exactly the pace that they want their cartoons and their media to be fed into their brains. I didn't really like Anya Taylor Joy's voice for Peach. I think her voice is fine, and I think her acting is fine, but I think it's just a bad casting choice, because the way Peach is animated is just so cute, so feminine, and so exaggerated, whereas Anya has a delivery that's very subdued and very, to me, what I'm more used to hearing with anime dubs. It's more realistic, and it just didn't feel right to me. I felt like they should have gone with a different actress. That's it for me for what I didn't like. What about you?
And regarding how fast paced it is, I understand, because kids these days, they watch TikTok and everything goes like a mile a minute. But for me, I understood everything, and it's not like it didn't make any sense. Everything made sense, even though it was going at a breakneck pace. So I'm not really concerned about how fast paced it was. My personal gripes were, I totally agree with you with Anya. I think Anya is a fantastic, relatively new talent, but the way Peach comes across seems so, like, for lack of a better word, Disney. Like she's like so animated, but Anya's so not really like that. Like, I think she would be great in an anime movie, let's say, but like, I kind of wanted like something more typical, like a Kristen Bell or a what's her name from A Walk to Remember from Tangled, Mandy Moore. Something like an animated princess person, obviously not those characters because they've been characters already in Disney movies, but like somebody with a little bit more animated whatever to their voice, because Chris Pratt is very, very animated in this movie, and so is Jack Black. Jack Black dials his voice to like 10 million. Another big gripe that is basically the same criticism I have is Donkey Kong, played by Seth Rogen. It's just Seth Rogen. It's just Seth Rogen. Seth Rogen has been in a bajillion animated movies. He's been in Kung Fu Panda. He's going to be in this upcoming Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and he is just the same guy every time. And I just wanted somebody who is a little bit more not expected to be Donkey Kong, especially since he's in the movie a lot, and it sounds like Mario, like Chris Pratt does a good job at being this movie animated version of Mario, talking to Seth Rogen, playing like but the character looks like Donkey Kong. So that's like a gripe that I have.
If you're gonna voice act, like there's an art to it, and I don't like how certain actors just, they are who they are, whereas Chris Pratt and Jack Black really felt like they knew they had to become Bowser and Mario. They can't just be who they are. Yeah,
like Donkey Kong has the Seth Rogen laugh, and I'm like, what? That doesn't feel right to me, So that's another nitpicky thing. And then another nitpicky thing as a Super Mario fan is it's pretty obvious if you played a lot of the Super Mario games that they're holding back a lot. Especially from Super Mario World, the characters in Super Mario World. But by the end of the movie, if you stick around to the post-credit scenes, it kind of becomes obvious why they're holding back. You know, they don't want to blow their entire load in the first movie. But yeah, like there was so many characters that I was like so excited to see, but then they don't show up, or so many areas like the desert area with the like yellow ball cactus cat things that walk around that you just, you know, it's not really in this movie, but you could see that they're clearly saving this for more installments, and this is going to be a huge franchise. It seems like, with the way it's constructed. It reminds me, and excuse the crass comparison, but I kept thinking like this is like Iron Man for us. Like a lot of the Gen Xers watch Iron Man and go like, oh my God, it's Iron Man. But then like, you know, where's War Machine? Where's all these characters that they're used to? But I'm watching this going like, oh my God, this is a great first start. I can't wait to go to the movie theater again and see a certain green character, a certain character that likes garlic. You know, like I'm so excited to see the potential for this movie. But yeah, what if you were to score the movie like a high school assignment? What would you give the Super Mario Brothers movie?
I would give it A.
An A?
Yes.
You've never given a movie an A so
Yes.
far.
Yes, I would give it an A. I enjoyed it that much for a franchise animated movie. What about you?
I give it an A-. Very, very small, like half a grade down because of the small gripes that I have. But I was very, very, very thoroughly impressed, surprised, excited for the future. I felt alive. I felt young. And I'm so excited to see where they take this. They can take this into a million trillion different places and have, I swear, 25 movies in this universe. Like they can do so much with this. And just like Iron Man a million years ago, like 2 decades ago, this is like the birth and the start of a new thing, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah, I disagree with whatever score is on Rotten Tomatoes. I disagree with most of the people on Twitter who, I don't know what they were smoking, but this movie's a good movie.
And I thought we were dead inside.
Yeah. I was like, so I truly don't understand why people hate this movie and why they love Puss in Boots so much. I really don't understand people's, I think maybe their expectations were either too high for this movie or something, or like they're, because like I think that this is a movie for the fans, and if the fans are happy, like then whatever. And like I am barely a fan, and I thoroughly enjoyed it, so it did what it's supposed to do. The only reason it's not an A+ is because it is super fast paced, ADD, and yes, certain very, very nitpicky things, but yeah, it's not like it brought the score down to like a B. It's a perfectly fine movie. More than fine. It's a fantastic movie. You should watch it.
You should watch it. I hope you watch it. So now we're going to talk about the potential of the Nintendo Cinematic Universe, where it could go, how many movies it could make. But first, let's hear a word from our sponsors. Yes? This episode is made possible by New Masters Academy, the world's absolute #1 art school in the entire world. Click the link down below for a free 7-day trial. Thank you, New Masters Academy. Are you tired of waiting for superhero movies to finally disappear from the cinemas? And are you willing to embrace the great era of video game movies, but you just can't wait any longer? You know what helps the wait go faster? Coffee Brand Coffee. Coffee Brand Coffee gives me the feeling that life is going by really fast and helps me feel like I'm doing great at work and just gives me really good feelings.
If you would like 5% off your entire order, enter code honeyandabsinthe at the link down below.
Enjoy your coffee, enema babies. I am deep in the annals of your mind. I am deep in the annals of your... Hey everybody, welcome back to the Honey and Absinthe After Hours podcast. We're glad you're super excited for the Super Mario movie. Now we're going to super excitedly talk about where all of this could go in the future. So, where do you want to start here? We could start with video game movies as a genre and the state of it and how it's kind of slowly turning around now.
Yes. Well, first of all, Mario made a lot of money. Regardless,
it's beating Frozen 2
for specifically for the Easter weekend.
Oh, okay.
I think 5-day weekend day numbers or something like that.
Oh, okay.
But regardless of how badly, for some reason, some people wanted this movie to fail, this movie did really, really well. And according to Dan, with Charts with Dan, it doesn't even include Japan yet because it wasn't released yet when he did the numbers.
Oh my god!
For whatever reason, it didn't do well in China. I assume it's because, like, if you want my opinion on like what video game movies Chinese people like,
Jan's Chinese, so she would know.
They like World of Warcraft, Diablo, that kind of thing. They see Nintendo games as like
kids games
for kids, yeah.
Right.
So I can kind of understand. It hasn't even opened in Japan yet, and it made a lot of money. And it's going to make a lot of money, especially with just the sheer amount of toys, video games, Halloween costumes. I'm sure I'm dressed as Mario today, kind of. And it is going to make a lot of money, and a lot of people are predicting that video game movies might be the next thing. And I can see it. I can see why, because this movie sets up the potential for just so many more video game movies. But there's a lot of risk involved with that. Because if you know anything about video game movies, they haven't, and just translating video games into media like movies, TV shows, it hasn't had a very good track record. A lot of them have failed, so it's kind of risky for any studio to be like, let's do video games. But our argument is that we're ready. We're finally ready. The same way about 10 years ago, we were finally ready for superhero movies. And the reason is because millennials have grown up. We are the youngest of the millennials, and we have reached our 30s. The oldest of the millennials are in their 40s. We have money and we have children, and we are the exact age demographic that when you as in Hollywood, started making superhero movies, specifically Iron Man, for Gen Xers. We're the same age as they were at that time, and we want it, and we're at the age too to be making it for ourselves. So you should hire super fans of the properties that you're adapting, and then we would know best how to adapt it for ourselves and our children. And so if I were to convince a Hollywood exec, there are dollar signs involved here. We are at the age where we're going to spend boatloads of money on something like Super Mario. We're going to buy all the Legos, we're going to buy all the Nintendo toys, we're going to buy all the video games, and we want to share it with our children. So, what, though, are the risks?
The risks are your movie could end up like the Uncharted movie, the Halo TV show, the Assassin's Creed movie, the Prince of Persia movie, live-action Mario movie, and The Witcher. The connecting tissue of all those movies and TV shows, those visual media properties that kind of sunk, kind of unanimously, we could all agree, failed, is that they didn't have the love. They weren't made by people who really, really, really love the property. For example, a good example is The Witcher. Henry Cavill loves The Witcher, but he had a lot of friction with a lot of the people who wanted to put and inject their own agendas into the video game that he loves so much. So that's why The Witcher ended up the way it did. But we're seeing with properties like Detective Pikachu, like The Last of Us TV show, like this Mario movie, where it seems like it's lovingly made by people who actually give a shit about the property, who are big fans of the property, who have spent countless hours playing Super Mario, or know every single Pokemon, or played The Last of Us like probably 10 times, and are completely enamored with it. And your reward is that it could make a lot of money, and it could be critically acclaimed. Like, people are talking about Emmys for The Last of Us. People, we thoroughly enjoyed the Detective Pikachu movie, and we are so down for a Pokemon gym, legit, like, true telling of the Pokemon story. And I'm so excited for the future and the potential of where Mario could go. But it seems as though if you don't hire people who love this, who will risk everything just to make the vision that they love come alive, you will end up with a Super Mario live action movie, or The Witcher, or Uncharted, which is bad. You disappoint the fans. You don't give them any faith in the future of what you're going to do with their beloved property, and you lose out in money, and you look like a fool. That's kind of how I see Netflix's Witcher and Paramount TV's Halo TV show. I think they look like fools because they think, just like that, that's like, another crude comparison is Cowboy Bebop. They think just because we know the thing that we'll watch it. But like, I want you to get this through your head if you're listening and you're part of a studio, if you're a producer or whatever. The moment us millennial fans smell blood in the water that you are desecrating what we love, we will not watch it. And we will do everything to make sure our friends don't watch it. We're not like the Gen Xers who will like spend money on a really bad like Daredevil movie with Ben Affleck and go like, oh, that was bad. We're not even gonna waste our time. So that's the risk that's involved. But the reward, as you can see with the box office for Mario, is big money. Big money and potential to make bigger and bigger money. It feels like the Avengers thing all over again. I'm telling you, it feels like that all over again. We're like, if you made a Mario movie, if you made other movies in the Nintendo universe in the next 10 years, I'm down. Take my money. I'll watch it in 3D. I'll watch it 5 times. I've never felt this enthusiastic for anything in the movie theater in a very long time.
I think, like, for all the people who are scared of, like, well, it's risky or whatever, like, comic book movies, superhero movies were considered not viable until they were. I think people just needed to be ready, and there needed to have been a good vision for it, for people to really latch onto it. And I think we are ready for video games. Millennials grew up with video games, and especially with something like Super Mario being like a Japanese property, even though like there's a lot of problems with adapting things like anime, because anime really hasn't been in the mainstream for very long. It has, for me, all throughout my life. I grew up with it. I loved it. But in the mainstream, most people didn't really find out about what it was until recently. But with something like video games and Nintendo, we grew up with it. Millennials grew up with it. I guarantee you every single millennial knows what Mario is. Even if they never played it, they know what it is. So we're ready. The same way Gen X were ready for Marvel movies and Iron Man. And I think this will last about 10 years, the same way Marvel has basically lasted for about 10 years. Yeah,
because like we're not even talking about the shelf life of the brand. We're just talking about the shelf life of us millennials with the money.
Yeah,
and the
who want to watch these things.
You have about 10 to 12 years until we become the old irrelevant Gen Xers, and then you're going to have to start catering towards the Gen Zers, who will, in 12 years, they'll be in our position, basically.
Yeah. I do think, long-term predictions, I think anime is after video games.
We're talking about, like, 15 years from today.
Now, yeah.
Yeah. They will fail and fail. Like, One Piece thing's probably going to be failure. Like, almost everything's going to fail until, like with Mario, it doesn't.
Yeah, until people are ready. And I think for Western audiences, it will take anime to be in the mainstream consciousness in the West for another decade before everyone is ready. Because at that point, like 15 years from now, Gen Alpha is going to be the age of Gen Z. Gen Z will be the age of us, and we will be the age of Gen Xers now. Everyone will know what anime is. So there's not going to be this weird translation problem